guys, to another edition of the Panel B podcast, season 2, episode 2. You know what I was thinking, real quick, before we kind of get into everything?
Sure.
So, we're not going to be doing a show next week because of the holidays.
Yes.
Is that the end of season 2? Like, when we come back, is that season 3?
I guess so. So we have a 39 episode season 1 and then a 2 episode season 2.
Right.
And then we'll come back for season 3 in 2020.
Amazing. So this is like one
Makes
of those
sense
seasons.
to me.
Yeah. So this is the season finale, season 2, episode number 2. But of course, as always, lots to get to in this show here. We'll start off with the Week 15 NFL recap. Recap our picks, which hopefully you didn't follow. Wasn't that good. Spoiler alert. Fine. You win 1-1.
Also, I wanted to say something because
okay,
you know, I always use a pick on the heavy favorite money line parlay.
We know.
And had I made 2 picks on just straight up spreads, it would have been the Rams, which I chose to do, which was a loser, and the Vikings, which turned out to be an easy winner. So I don't know where this rule of 2 came from. I think Janko came up with it, and that chair is completely empty now. So the new rule that I'm going to make up for myself is I just give you my plays. Like, I can give you the Rams, the Vikings, and a heavy favorite money line parlay because that's what I want to do.
Okay, but I think the point of 2 was that these are the 2 plays that we feel most confident about because you're going to give us some, blasphemous plays.
But I feel confident in all my plays. They're like it's like you love all your children.
Well, believe me, once you start having more than one, you start picking and choosing, okay? So I was over 2.
I just made a new rule, so.
All right. But we're also trying to keep the show under an hour.
If I got you 3, maybe you would have gone 1 and 2 and lost a little bit of less money.
Okay, so why don't you just brag about going 1-1? Go ahead.
Yeah, Rams, horrible pick. Hopefully you took my plays on Twitter and added the Vikings to that because they smashed and won that Rams money back. Obviously, the heavy favorite money line parlay never fails. Sure. It has literally never lost. But no, Baltimore, easy winner. Pats, easy winner. Drag you into Monday night. Saints, easy winner. That was as sweat-free of a heavy favorite money line parlay as you could pretty much ask for.
Okay, fair. The heavy money line parlay, whatever you call it.
Heavy favorite money line.
Whatever. It doesn't fail. I had the Browns at -3. And
that was a trap.
It was a trap. They got to stop doing this because you know what? Average people like me.
You know what the trap is, I think? Betting on the Browns.
Well, that might be the one. But average people like me who, are betting, trying to make people money, we don't want to get these traps. Just give us nice plays, nice lines. That's all we ask for. But the Browns just came out. This is one of the worst defenses in the league, and they only pull 24 points. Well, I'm so flustered. I'm so flustered. And the Cardinals, 38 points. Where did this come from? This offense has been horrible. Horrible. And they come out and post 38 points against the Browns. So that was a loss. The other one that was a loss, and I think it was kind of shocking. I think you can get on board with me, is the Titans.
Yeah, so I didn't bet the Browns game. I did bet Titans -3.
Which was, it was looking bad.
I don't think it was shocking. Like, it's a pretty evenly matched divisional opponent.
Yeah.
You just like that Tennessee's hot and Tennessee's at home, so you lay the 3 there.
Tannehill looked really bad.
Yeah, that's set up as a game that, Tennessee would come back in. I know. So I played Tennessee -3 and then played Tennessee +7.5 live to just kind of wash that game out, which I guess I was happy with, even though I really liked Tennessee -3 like you did. But yeah, like, it's not shocking. I leaned Tennessee as well. That's why I bet it. But anytime you have those tight divisional games between 2 teams at the top of the division, it's not like that can surprise you. And it's not like Houston blew them out either. It was a 3-point game. Obviously, and Houston's a good team, so they had motivation to kind of come out and show that the weird home blowout by the Broncos was a fluke. So, like, it adds up, but yeah, we'll see what Tennessee looks like this week at home against New Orleans.
Well, I guess what it was for me, what I made it a shocking loss, is because Texans secondary has been very poor. Like, the Broncos going out and carving them up the week before was shocking. Drew Lock, rookie quarterback, not exactly a plethora of weapons to go through. Right. And then the Texans can't stop anything on the ground either. So Derrick Henry coming into this game having rushed for over 100 yards in 4 straight games, not being able to do so against this defense, more of a shock to me. So when you put all that together, it felt like a -3 for the Titans, a low spread against a team that hasn't been able to defend anything.
You're preaching to the choir, man. I bet it too.
Well, I'm sorry.
We were wrong.
Yeah, we were wrong.
You don't have to apologize. I made up for it by betting Tennessee plus 7.5 live.
All right, so 1-1 for you.
1-1 for me.
0-2 for me. Definitely keep following our picks. That's all I'm going to say.
It's the time of year that we get hot. And you know what gets hot at this time of year? I'm not even joking. It has the last 2 years.
Okay.
Is money line parlays in these week 16 and 17s, because we know who's out of it. We know who's in it.
Yep.
We know who's going to be resting. Like, assuming let's say Baltimore wins against Cleveland as 10-point favorites this week, and Lamar Jackson rests in week 17. Like, you pay attention to news like that, and you know who's got to win to get into the playoffs or keep their playoffs alive. Like, you can kind of lean towards it has to be the right matchups. Like, two teams could be playing each other for a playoff spot. That's a big game, but a team that just fell out of the playoff race the week prior, going up against a team the next week that's playing to get in. Like, you find the right spots and put them together, and you can do kind of well.
Do you want to do picks now? Just get that out of the way, because it's not exactly hot.
Are you ready to start us off?
Yeah, I can do it.
Go ahead.
So the first one I'm doing, and this jumped out at me, we talked about it on The Sweat today, which, by the way, is on Monday through Friday, starting at 10 a.m., our new time, so you can watch that on any of your social media channels. Pittsburgh Steelers, Jets, under 37.5. It's a low total to begin with. Hodges can't get anything going offensively. He's awful.
I was mashing
Absolutely
unders on that Sunday night game. But that was the perfect game, Buffalo at Pittsburgh.
What an awful game to showcase, by the way.
They were just all hitting. It was great.
Yeah.
I had a fun time.
It probably will here, because the Steelers are very good defensively, very good pass rush. Sam Darnold is no stranger to taking sacks. That's going to be an issue. I don't see how the Jets are going to really get going anything offensively. And then the Steelers really can't get anything going either, even against the secondary that has been so bad, talking about the Jets. I mean, Hodges just faced the Cardinals.
What's Hodges going to do about it?
Right. He just faced the Cardinals a couple of weeks ago, had like 158 yards. How is that even possible? I could go out there against the Cardinals for 200. No. Believe me, this is the golden arm.
If we're talking bets of the week, I'll bet the under on that.
Listen, I'm a national dodgeball champion. This arm, don't let it fool you.
This is somehow true.
It is true, folks. It is true. Google. It's your friend.
Keep giving us your picks, Patches O'Houlihan.
But under 37.5 for Steelers and Jets.
Okay.
The other one I kind of like, I'm going to regret this, I think. I kind of like the Raiders plus 6.5 against the Chargers.
Okay.
This might be a trap. Another one that I'm falling for, but I don't think the consensus could be any lower on the Raiders. They're going against a team that's basically playing for nothing. Defensively, they've been spotty. I know that the Chargers will be able to throw against the Raiders, but 6.5 points for the Raiders feels a lot more enticing than the 6.5 for the Chargers, who, by the way, have been one of the worst teams against the spread all season long. So Raiders to plus 6.5. That's my second one.
Okay. So I just want to get a number on how many on what this team's record is against the total this season before I give it. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 11-3.
11-3
to the over.
Yep.
So
best in the league.
I rarely give a total as my play. I'm usually looking at spreads. And
this is a Saturday game, by the way.
Right. And so the spreads are pretty fair this week, I think, across the board. Love that we have I love how every week 16 it's the only one. College football, there are some bowl games, but it's the bad bowl games, so it's like a good Saturday for the NFL to jump in. Every week 16, we get this 3-game slate. I love it. We'll break down the slate as well on this. But yeah, Saturday, 1 p.m. game, so you get your money early, assuming it wins. Over 49.5. Houston Texans at Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I know Jameis Winston doesn't have any weapons left, but he has over 450 yards and 4 touchdowns in consecutive games. Like, he's slinging it, and the Texans are not the team on the road that's going to stop him from doing so.
Right.
Especially with the bad running backs they have. They're just going to keep throwing. And then Houston, Deshaun Watson and DeAndre Hopkins and company should be able to get things done against this Buccaneers secondary. Tampa's 11-3 to the over. We're going to ride that trend, and
I like that one.
I really like over 49.5 in that game.
Okay.
So then that leaves us with the heavy favorite money line parlay, of course.
Here we go, folks. Get out your crayons.
Get out your crayons, as Bucks would say. So I think there are three teams that make this one just over even odds that I love. So if you follow on Twitter, we already have one going. We have the Saints from Monday night linked with the two teams that are going to start this one.
Oh, my God.
But I found another team that I can link them with. So this one also starts Saturday. Patriots are in some trouble, I guess, offensively, but they're not going to lose this game to the Bills at home for essentially the AFC East.
Okay.
This isn't the year that the changing of the guard happens. Next year, perhaps. This year, the Patriots are still going to finish with the 2 seed in the AFC East, or 2 seed in the AFC and the bye. They're going to do that by beating the Bills at home on Saturday afternoon at 4:30.
No, they're not. So this is already a loss.
So you should have played Bills plus 245.
I'm not overly confident, but I would lean more towards the Bills winning this game than the Patriots.
Then you should definitely have made Bills plus 6.5 a play.
Well, the good thing is you're not my mother, so you can't tell me what to do.
Okay, so my bet's already lost, but Steve's not confident to make it one of his plays. Get out your crayons, ladies and gentlemen. Patriots minus 286. They're going to win that game. Ravens minus 455. 10-point favorites against the Browns. They're going to win that game. And if you think the Ravens are taking their foot off the gas, they didn't Thursday night at home against the Jets. They have 10 days of rest for this game. And the Browns blew out the Ravens in Baltimore earlier this year. One of the weirder games we've seen this season. The Ravens are going to get revenge on that and win this game. They're just rolling.
Oh,
and
no.
The third spot.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
What's the third spot going to be?
Is it the Falcons?
No. Come on.
Okay.
Come on. Seattle Seahawks minus 385 at home against the Arizona Cardinals, 9.5-point spread in that one. Seahawks in contention for the number 1 seed in the NFC now. They really need this one. Maybe Arizona can score points. We've seen them score points, but Seattle will be able to outscore them. You put those three together, you're at plus 108, plus money.
What about adding the Chiefs into that? Minus 230. Then you're at plus 199. Against the Bills.
Getting a little greedy, Bucks.
Well, okay. I mean, talking about teams that are not going to lose. You're telling me you think the Bears could actually beat the Chiefs? I don't see that happening at all.
I'm telling you that they do not pass the
sniff test.
All the numbers that I crunch that go into these heavy favorite money line parlay. They did not pass the test.
Okay. I'm taking them out. But if you wanted to do that.
I think the Chiefs will win.
If you wanted to do that, plus 199. Just so you know.
All right.
Okay?
Now I know. So
we got our picks locked in. We'll get our updated records. I'm sure it'll be up on the screen. Boom. There's your graphic. There's our records. So hopefully they edit that correctly. Otherwise, that's going to be really awkward, what I just did. You want to talk about Saturday real quick?
Yes.
Okay. So a very, very good 3-game slate.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Texans, Buccaneers, Bills, Patriots, Rams, 49ers. Just an excellent set of 3 games. Like, that is a very, very good slate here. From a DFS side, there's a lot to choose from. Like, this is going to be one of the tougher 3-game slates.
In ways there's a lot to choose from. But I thought it was interesting, like, because when you play these slates, it's always like there's good running backs to pay up for. Or like, who are you even going to choose from between all these running backs? Da-da-da-da-da.
Yep.
This slate, the most expensive running back is a $6,300 Todd Gurley.
Sure.
Who goes at San Francisco against the defense that's allowed the fewest points to running backs this season.
Yep.
So it's like we have one borderline stud.
Yep.
He does have 18 or more DraftKings points in 4 of his last 5 games. One borderline stud who's just above 6K who has a terrible matchup.
Yep.
So it's like, it's an awesome 3-game slate, but it requires you to think a little bit more.
No, and I do agree with that. I guess where mine was coming from was at quarterback. Because Watson, Winston are the 2 most expensive guys. They're separated by $100. Mm-hmm. Watson, $7,000. Winston, $6,900. I mean, 2 extremely bad secondaries, but these are the 2 that are going to garner the most ownership here. Then when you have someone like Garoppolo, who's been as hot as he's been down the list there, Goff on the road against a 49ers secondary that has just been awful. Absolutely awful.
Yeah.
Allowing an average of 31 real points per game over the last 3 weeks. Like, they've just been absolutely decimated by injuries, and it's kind of really rearing its ugly head now. And then Josh Allen. Like, we know how we always try to avoid the Patriots' defense because of how good they've been, but, Allen's one of those sneaky tournament guys. Yes, because the Patriots can't stop the run. Like, I think that's pretty known now that they have issues with the run. You're not going to be able to throw against him. We're not rostering Allen for his passing abilities. The legs is what's really getting us there. So at least for quarterback, and this is kind of what I was alluding to, this is where the tough decisions come. Because I think this position is going to make the biggest difference maker if you're cashing or not on the week.
So I'll say one thing. And I already wrote the Saturday targets article, which is up on the DK playbook, so you can read through that and get some information and stuff. Bing. In cash, you're crazy. That it always stinks when you have these slates where it's one game after the other. This is kind of like the 3-game Thanksgiving slate, where the early game is the high projected total, the one that people are going to stack, and then you just watch yourself kind of fall all day and be like, am I going to stay in the money or not? But you're crazy not to stack that game in cash and then fill in some pieces from the later games. Like Watson or Winston is the cash quarterback. Probably Watson because he's at full strength. Maybe Winston runs into a wall, given how depleted his top 2 receivers have come. So I think that makes Watson a little bit more safe. But I think it's hilarious from a tournament perspective. There's 6 quarterbacks on this slate. You mentioned 5 of them. The only one you didn't mention is the cheapest quarterback on the slate, a $5,200 Tom Brady. I am going to have a tournament lineup that's Tom Brady, James White, N'Keal Harry stack.
Okay.
Because nobody's going to look that way.
No, not at all.
James White will be kind of popular just because we mentioned there are no running backs, and White's PPR upside keeps him as a very balanced play.
Yep.
But Edelman's dealing with some stuff. He's banged up. Harry's emerged a little bit, especially as a red zone target over the last 2 weeks. Even though that touchdown against Kansas City didn't count, they ran that play. He scored a touchdown. Like, they have that in there. The Patriots have that play in their playbook.
Yep.
They're going to Harry in the red zone. So I think if the Patriots do show up in this game at home against Buffalo, those are going to be the 3 contributors, I would say.
Yeah. And just real quick,
you're going to get low ownership.
Real quick on Edelman, and I think teams are starting to figure this out. The Patriots' offense has been struggling to pass the ball to begin with. When it's third down, you double team Edelman.
Edelman's been getting double teamed pretty much every
double team
play.
On third down, double team in the red zone, because then truly Brady doesn't have that consistent guy to go to anymore. Maybe that opens up a little bit more for James White. Like, this is one of those games where I do think that James White is going to be a big factor. It's hard to figure out on a week-to-week basis because of how inconsistent Bill Belichick is with the running back core, but James White, this is one of those games against a tough defensive team, like quick checkdowns to him. Like, this could be one of those PPR monster games that he has, and for him being the 3rd most expensive running back, I think that kind of is contingent on what that idea is here. Because, yes, it's a 3-game slate, but James White, somebody who doesn't consistently get the carries, consistently get the targets to be the 3rd most expensive guy, kind of has to be the mentality.
Yeah. At wide receiver, maybe if you're making 10 lineups, maybe you make 1 or 2 without DeAndre Hopkins. But if you're playing cash or GPP, that's almost a square that you just have to take.
Yep.
Because you can't risk his upside in this game. He's $8,500. Tampa's allowed the most DraftKings points to wide receivers.
Yep.
He's just going to be the guy. And especially with 3 games, it's where else do you spend up? There's not the Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, or whatever type of running back. Quarterback's pretty affordable. There's no other real stud receiver because of Godwin and Mike Evans being banged up. So, you kind of have to take him. And then you go from there.
For sure. And even if Will Fuller is active, because that's always a thing people worry about. If Will Fuller's on the field, it takes away from DeAndre Hopkins. So,
if Will Fuller's off the field, what it does is make Stills a better value play at 4,400.
100%. But, so we saw Hopkins' target share go down last week when Fuller came back, only had 8. But he turned that 8 into 6 receptions for 119 yards.
Right.
Hopkins is still going to get fed. He's still going to have the opportunities. You can't fade him against this Tampa Bay Buccaneers secondary, which is allowing over 14 yards per reception. It's just been absolutely brutal. So, Hopkins is going to be in that 80, 85, 90% owned range.
It's too
cute.
You
have to do it.
It's too cute to fade him.
Where the differentiation is going to come from is the value. because there is a lot of value in here. If Fuller's out, Stills is attractive at 4,400. Watson for Tampa Bay, 4,600 without Godwin, without Evans.
Right.
Even Cole Beasley against the Patriots.
Yep.
Slot guy has been an issue for the Patriots. There's going to be a lot of value on this slate here. So, like I said, I think quarterback's going to...
Then there's Brashad Perriman at $6,000, which is kind of like the sexy wide receiver 2 pay-up guy on this slate. Who would have thought Brashad Perriman would be like a chalky 6,000 guy to pay up for, but that's where we are. 3 straight games, double-digit DraftKings points, and went off with no Mike Evans and Godwin going off the field.
So there's a lot of different ways here. The biggest thing for me is at tight end, too, as well.
So this is the position I wanted to talk about.
This is the position. So you look at the top 3 guys, Kittle, Higbee, Everett. Okay, so 2 of them from the Rams, all in the same game, actually.
Well, I mean, Everett, we're going to hope remains out because that's why Higbee has been targeted the 5th most of any player in the NFL over the last 3 weeks and has 3 straight 20 DraftKings point games. So
what's interesting for me is that are we going to try to jam these guys in? Or are we going to go back a little bit and look at O.J. Howard, who's been one of the biggest disappointments all season long?
But he almost has to step up now.
He has to. It's a must. I'm not saying this is going to be an O.J. Howard game. Damn it. This is going to be an O.J. Howard game.
Probably means it's going to be a Cam Brake game, but yes, in theory. So here's what my point was going to be at tight end. If there was ever a slate in cash or GPP to play 2 tight ends, this is it. Because when you look at running backs, and I like James White for 5,800, I like more tight ends than I do running backs.
Yeah.
So like Todd Gurley at 6,300, I would rather play Kittle for 6,500, Higbee for 5,000, or Howard for 4,000, all over Todd Gurley on this slate.
I agree.
So if there's a time to play Kittle and then you put O.J. Howard in your flex, or Higbee and Howard, Higbee and Kittle.
Yep.
This is it. You can play. You can definitely play 2 tight ends on this slate.
And the last point I'm going to make, and you and I kind of talked about this off the show a couple days ago, you are going to have salary left over.
Mm-hmm.
Don't make decisions because, honestly, you could have over 1,000 left over. I think that's possible on this slate.
It is. I can spend it on this slate.
But see, that's where I'm kind of the point is.
But
where
it's
I'm getting here.
because Kittle's like 6,500, and you can normally you pay down at tight end. Now you can just take Kittle.
But is Kittle the best play at tight end? I'm not positive.
I'm fine with Higbee and Howard both in your lineup.
But I guess my point is that when you start second guessing because you have all this salary left over, like I get it, you don't feel great about leaving a ton on the board. But on these 3-game slates where there's positions you're not really looking to pay up for at all. Positions that, the most expensive guy, Todd Gurley, is 6,300 at running back. DeAndre Hopkins, 70. I'm sorry. Godwin's the most expensive, but he's not going to play. Evans and then Kupp. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Sorry. I had Hopkins in my lineup. Hopkins is the most expensive. You're going to have money left over. Don't jam in other guys just because of that reason. Because I think the plays are the plays on this slate, and you just roll with that, not trying to jam in guys that really aren't in good spots and good matchups.
Lineups that I've been making have generally had like 1 to 400 left over in this slate. And 1,000's probably extreme. If you have something you like, then go for it. But
I think
I'm
it's
fine
possible,
leaving
though.
400 on the table on this slate.
I think it's possible. Because even with the defense, do you have to pay up for the Patriots? Not necessarily, because quite frankly, the Bills at 2,900 I think is a pretty good value against a team that's hasn't been able to protect Brady. Brady has been throwing some interceptions.
So if you want to go elsewhere on defense, I guess that's it. I guess I'm fine tossing the expensive plays in. I'm fine. I have the salary left over, and then I'm just like, all right, give me Kittle and Pat's D, and that kind of eats everything up.
Yep.
But yeah, I agree with your theory here. Want to talk Sunday 11 games real quick?
Yeah, we'll do it real quick on that. We won't go too deep into it.
Yeah, we kind of covered everything on the 3-gamer. We won't do that here, but just some overall thoughts. Lamar Jackson's back, 8K.
Yeah. So this is where I start getting a little nervous about Jackson because they pretty much get everything wrapped up. We haven't heard anything about them resting him or anything like that, but we're getting into that time frame now where this could happen. This is the dangerous part about playing these slates because when teams have things wrapped up, they really have nothing to play for. This is where we can start seeing some guys getting taken out. So now Lamar Jackson, who's at 8,000, which, if I'm not mistaken, is the most expensive he's been all season.
Oh, yeah.
Correct. that starts to get a little dicey for me.
So my only, I agree, but my only rebuttal, I guess, would be, people were fading him against the Jets.
Sure.
Some idiots in their season-long leagues, first round of the playoffs, were like, "Oh, Lamar Jackson has what was it, calf, quad? I don't even remember what it is because it doesn't matter anymore." Benched him in their season-long playoffs.
Right.
Throws 5 touchdown passes. My only thing here is just that the Ravens want to show that they want to remain dominant and keep that momentum going to the playoffs.
Yep.
They want to get revenge for that huge loss in Baltimore blowout to the Browns earlier in the year. And Lamar Jackson scores 5 touchdowns in 3 quarters again before they go to RG3.
So my problem here is that you look at the guys that are priced right below him. Russell Wilson, Drew Brees, Tannehill, Prescott.
And look at those numbers.
All of them.
Just look at the opponent rankings on the matchups there.
Right.
Russell Wilson 32, Drew Brees 29, Ryan Tannehill 28.
And
Great
that's my
matchups
point.
For those guys.
That's my point. You could go all the way down to Prescott, who's 1,600 less than Jackson.
I'm not going to trust the Cowboys because they're frauds. But I like the other
I get
plays.
it. But against the Eagles,
Who do we think is going to win that game?
I'm siding with the Cowboys.
Yeah, see, everything in my head says Cowboys, but they're just frauds and they don't travel well. And the
Believe
Eagles
me.
suck. That was a point that we made a lot on, what was that, the show on Sunday? The Eagles suck. This game sucks. I think I'm leaning Eagles.
A spread pick
Don't
or
ask
money
me
line?
why.
Spread or money line?
Both.
No! You can't take the
Getting
Eagles money
plus
line.
money,
No,
getting
no, no,
plus
no.
money on the home team in this game is kind of intriguing. Let's not forget who the Cowboys are.
I know.
They've lost, 6 or 7 games straight up as the favorite this year. That just popped into my head. We don't need to keep talking about this game because it's garbage. And it shouldn't be a playoff game, but it is. For quarterback, I'm leaning Russell Wilson at 7,000 at home against the dead last-ranked Arizona Cardinals in DraftKings points allowed to quarterback. Tyler Lockett was one of your bounce-back guys last week. He did with a huge game. I think he's going to continue that. You can stack Lockett with him. I like Wilson here at quarterback. Just looking across the slate in terms of plays that I really like.
Chris Carson again.
Right. So Chris Carson and Saquon Barkley were the chalk running backs last week, and they can be again. Miles Sanders just shredded Washington for almost 40 DraftKings points. Now Saquon gets them. Chris Carson can go with your Seattle stack in there. But one guy I want to mention, Joe Mixon, 6,600 against the Dolphins.
He's a free square.
How did Saquon get his bounce back against the Dolphins? Because they stink.
Yep.
It's Mixon, actually, that scored 17 DraftKings points in 6 of his last 7 games.
Yep.
He's shown a 30-point ceiling, scored 22 against the Patriots. Mixon is my favorite running back play this week.
Mixon is a free square. There is no reason why he should still be 6,600. It's insane because so this is somebody over the past 2 weeks, 30.6 DraftKings fantasy points, 21.6, and in that span, yes, he's gone up $800 from that span, but
that's viable for the matchup that he gets now.
It's still too cheap.
Right.
The Dolphins have been one of the worst in the league. The Bengals have shown that they are not scared to script him out. He is in this game no matter what the score is. He's going to get over 20 carries. He's going to get 5 targets. It's insane that he's only 6,600.
Yep.
So locking him in.
Wide receiver real quick. Never feel great about fading Michael Thomas because he's such a chalky guy. But all you have to do is open up his profile on DK at a glance. Home games, 30.7 fantasy points per game. Road games, 19.4 fantasy points per game. Drew Brees isn't as good outside. There's a reason that they got him that record in the Dome, final home game, Monday Night Football. Drew Brees, respect to him for that record. Maybe him and Brady go back and forth with it, but he's a much worse quarterback outdoors. And the Titans need this game despite having a bad pass defense. I just think it limits Michael Thomas a little bit more. Is 19 DraftKings points a bad game? No. But we expect 25, 30 from him, and I don't think we're going to get it.
What worries me real quick, last week the Titans secondary against the Texans.
Hopkins just got 20 against them, which is right there. If you get 20 from Michael Thomas,
50.5 DraftKings points to the Texans receivers last week. That's what the Titans allowed. That's what scares me there.
Because Kenny Stills scored 2 touchdowns.
Michael Thomas could do the same.
He could. I like A.J. Brown a lot again.
Yep. There's a lot of good plays on this slate. I do like this slate. Real quick, tight end. Nothing really jumps out at me here at this position. I think we got to kind of wait. Zach Ertz, maybe you can go back to that against the Cowboys who have struggled against that position.
Right, so like
already.
on the 3-game slate, you throw a guy like Ertz in there.
Yeah.
This one, I'm not paying $6,400 at tight end. I got to wait and find some value there.
I think actually Jonas Smith is interesting. He's been getting kind of more involved as late. Delaney Walker's been out for weeks, but now it actually kind of looks like they're using Smith a little bit more. Yeah. 9 targets over the last 2 weeks, double-digit DraftKings fantasy points in that span, and a touchdown. Ryan Tannehill loves him in the red zone, so someone to consider as well. So we'll wrap that up there with the Week 16 overall. Yep. You want to touch a little NFL futures?
Yeah, so I just think that DK Sportsbook does such a good job of offering plays at this stage of the season that you're not going to find anywhere. Like, I don't know where is offering these live, team futures. Obviously, everybody has Super Bowl and to win the conference, but like, you can bet to make the playoffs. Steelers plus 110, yes. Minus 134, no. The only other team with reasonable money is the Titans. Minus 134, yes. Plus 110, no. Like, nobody has those type of things. You can still bet division winners. But the player futures tab is the most intriguing to me. MVP, Offensive Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, first overall pick, and rushing yards leader are all things that are still on the board. I know we've been talking a lot, and I've put some stuff on Twitter about the rushing yards leader because I have Nick Chubb plus 1,800 from before the season on that.
Humble brag.
Yeah, I'm an extremely sharp gambler. And if you look at those live odds, Nick Chubb is minus 305. He currently has a 79-yard lead on Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry's plus 250. So I've been looking at some potential hedging options. Do you hedge? Do you take Henry now? Do you take Henry week 17? So I'm in a pretty good spot there. But I just think the ability to even be able to bet on the rushing yards leader at this point of the season, like Derrick Henry, there's never a more capable guy of a 200-yard game than Derrick Henry. So if you want to take him plus 250 at this stage of the season, that's a good bet. Or you can look at it and say, Nick Chubb's got pretty much a game's worth, almost 80 yards lead on anybody. You lay the 305 now, and he's probably going to get it.
Right.
First overall pick, that takes some time to play out, but Joe Burrow's minus 250 there, Chase Young plus 250. This is something that I like a lot and took. Defensive Player of the Year is on the board. That's obviously something that you have the media voting on. So, Patriots haters, maybe they don't give the love to Stephon Gilmore, but a corner hasn't won Defensive Player of the Year since Charles Woodson in 2009. Stephon Gilmore is even odds. TJ Watt is next at plus 600. It's Stephon Gilmore's award to lose. And we kind of forget how dominant the Patriots defense was the first half of the season, and they've slipped up a little bit. But this is a full season award.
Yep.
Gilmore should win this award, and getting even money on that, I think, is a steal.
Well, the interesting thing, too, is that we've talked about this. When we last talked about this, TJ Watt was at plus 1,000.
Right.
He's dropped now to plus 600.
He made the appropriate, Aaron Donald was plus 600. He's now plus 700. He's made the appropriate jump to plus 600. I think that TJ Watt is the guy if it's not Gilmore. Really dominant Pittsburgh defense, especially if they get into the playoffs with what they've had at quarterback this season. It kind of shows that the defense is what got them there, which makes Watt a good bet. But yeah, my money's on Gilmore.
Yeah, and like I said, like these are one of those things too that you can get some big money on, and to get it this late in the game, like it's pretty much mapped out who these are going to go to, but there's still money making opportunities here.
So like you can say, I don't think it's going to be anybody but Gilmore and Watt. Like Donald is there for his name. Has he done anything to win it? No.
Not really.
Shaquille Barrett, he has a lot of sacks for that Tampa defense.
Yep.
We just said Tampa overs are 11-3. Is that the team that's going to win Defensive Player of the Year? Like, if I went anywhere else, it would be Tre'Davious White for Buffalo at plus 1,600. I'd go even deeper. But, like, so let's say you want to put like $100 on Gilmore to win $100. If you think Watt's the only other player that's going to get it, you can put, what am I looking at here? Like $15, $20 on TJ Watt to protect yourself.
Right.
And then you win, you profit $80 if Gilmore wins it, and you break even if Watt wins it, and kind of protect yourself a little bit there. Like there's ways to do this where unless there's a huge upset, you're going to guarantee your profit or breaking even.
Yeah, so definitely check out those if you have the access to the DraftKings Sportsbook.
The only other one too, just really quickly, MVP is not even worth it. Lamar Jackson's minus 5,000 as he should be. Rookie of the year, Josh Jacobs is minus 400. Has he been that good? I would give it to Kyler Murray, who's plus 700. I think Kyler Murray plus 700, and this is coming from a guy that took Kyler Murray before the season at plus 300, so I really hope he wins the award. But I would make a small play on Kyler Murray plus 700 if I didn't already have him.
And, of course, this is the opportunity to tell you that odds and lines are subject to change. See website for actual odds. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, you can call 1-800-GAMBLER. I know you want to talk a little NBA, so this is an opportunity for me to take a nap. So go ahead and talk about your NBA stuff, and right. I'll be back on the show in a minute.
Night, Bucks. So the only NBA spot that I want to talk about is, first of all, maybe the most shocking win outright of the NBA season.
Shocking.
Is the Mavericks going to Milwaukee without first game without Luka Doncic and the ankle injury, and beating the Bucks outright to snap their 18-game losing streak. That one cost me some coin, but oh well, we'll move on. So
sad.
Yes, very sad. Lakers at Bucks on Thursday night is the primetime game.
Yep.
Lakers just lost without Anthony Davis in Indy last night, blew a fourth-quarter lead in that one. So both teams really looking at a bounce-back spot. But if Anthony Davis is still out or banged up, Milwaukee last year and even early this year has historic numbers against the spread bouncing back from a loss. After they lose, they blow teams out the next game and cover. So I'm keeping an eye on this game. If Anthony Davis is ruled out or limited in any way, it's going to be a great game, but I'm taking Milwaukee. I think that Milwaukee can win this game against the Lakers by double digits if Anthony Davis is out. They smoked the Clippers in Milwaukee earlier this year. So looking ahead, Thursday night, Bucks.
Perfect.
That's all I got.
That's it?
That's it. I just wanted to talk about that one spot. I got a college basketball spot for Wednesday night that's just...
Go ahead. Just go ahead. Just go.
North Carolina stinks. Cole Anthony is out. He's a top 5 pick in the NBA draft. You don't know who he is.
No.
UNC has no offense with him off the floor.
Nope.
Gonzaga has passed every test they've been given this season in terms of tough wins. No, people are going to be afraid because the line on this game is 12.5. I think they're going to want UNC. Gonzaga is going to win this game by 20 points.
What?
And they're -7 on the first half line, too. They're going to be ahead double digits at halftime. I already tweeted out Gonzaga -7 first half, Gonzaga -12.5 game. That's a great college hoop spot.
Okay. And that's tonight.
That is tonight, Wednesday night, 9 o'clock.
Okay.
National TV game.
I am looking forward
Zags
to not taking
show
that
out.
bet. I'm not going to take that bet.
That's fine.
Because I don't know anything about it. And I'll tell you what I don't know anything else about is hosting a show. So you know what? Why don't we close it right now? This is going to be...
Did we hit everything?
I think we hit everything, right? I don't have anything else. Oh, real quick. MLB. Thank you for making a very entertaining offseason. This has been fantastic. Have you been following along a little bit?
A little bit.
Good deals early. Shocking
Right.
deals.
Yeah.
Like Bumgarner to the Diamondbacks is such a... it's staying in the division. I absolutely love it. Going to Chase Field with the Diamondbacks. That was pretty cool.
It has been nice that Cole and Rendon get done.
Yep.
That would have been done, mid-spring training last year.
Right. Well, the Bryce Harper thing didn't get done until February. We were on the brink of spring training. It was wild it took that long.
February or March?
I'm pretty sure. All I remember is I went on.
I don't know. I don't care.
I went on the sweat. I dropped a jump of balloons. I was very happy about it happening. But the offseason has been fantastic. It's been absolutely fantastic. But the big thing now is Mookie Betts potentially to the Dodgers. That's kind of the hot rumor right now. I hope they get that done before the season starts. They're not going to re-sign him. Get what you can for him. The Dodgers have some really good prospects in their system, like Gavin Lux, one of their starting pitchers. Would be a nice haul coming back. But I just hope they get that done, because if it goes into the season, if they end up moving from the All-Star...
Doesn't seem like Mookie Betts has any interest in returning to Boston.
Why would you want to return here anyways?
I guess. As a Red Sox fan, I'll take whatever you can get for him.
Listen, I'm always a fan too, but at this point, this team is dead in the water. I'd be shocked if they won more than 85 games this year. I have no hopes for them at all. They signed Martin Perez. Martin Perez is going to be the fifth starter.
He was a great DFS play for the first half of last season until he sucked.
Yeah, for about the first 3 weeks, and then he turned back into Martin Perez, former Twin great, as so they say.
DK Sportsbook only has World Series and league winners. I was going to look what the Red Sox win total was, and a whole tab of Garrett Cole specials.
You got to milk it while you can. All right, that's it. We're going to wrap up the show. That's it for the Panel B podcast. For the rest of the year, maybe, I think.
Yep.
I think. So this was a very
Week from
entertaining
today's Christmas, so we're
season
done.
2. Thank you for coming into season 2. It was two episodes long. When we come back, it's going to be season 3. I promise none of us die this time around. We will still be back. It's still
We
gonna
might
be a
even
two-man
add
show.
people.
We might add people. That's the rumor and innuendo. We might have more guests. Hopefully guests that we want, because we don't want Brendan Glasheen. We don't want Adam Kaufman. Reed Fowler, maybe. Jesse Cofield is one of the Panel B members that has not been on Panel B, so maybe that too.
She is?
Yeah. When we did the draft show, she was the host.
Oh, yeah.
So she's actually
Sorry,
technically the
Jesse.
4th member of
True.
Panel B. We just forgot all about her.
I did.
Right? But it would be nice to get some female presence here because nobody wants to look at us. That's why I think the video views aren't as high as they could be. We had Jesse in the mix, could be get some more views.
Okay.
Right. And somebody just said it's kind of right in the back, so they're right. So I am right about that. Okay, that's going to do
the show.
it. For Julian Edlow, I'm Steve Buchanan. Thank you for tuning in to Season 2.